We never got in time. We were in the back of the ambulance just explaining what happens in the back of the ambulance when someone gets in trouble and he calls for help. It takes time till the crew gets into the ambulance, till they get all together. They have to run to the ambulance, start the motor, make sure everyone's there, and then start driving. It takes 1 to 2 to 3 minutes to get out of the station where we were. And then, to get to the call, you have to go through the traffic. Sometimes you're lucky and it's right next to the station. But sometimes you have to go to the other side. Let's say if you have to go to Gilo or to Ramot or to Neve Yaakov or whatever it is, it takes sometimes 15 to 20 minutes until you get there. Now, when someone actually has a cardiac arrest, when a person's heart stops beating, you have exactly 2 minutes to be there before the damage starts. And if you get there when someone had a cardiac arrest within the first 2 minutes, they have a 90% chance of saving it. After 2 minutes, every minute is about 10% less of a chance to save this person. Average response time then was 16, 17, 18 minutes, sometimes even more, but let's say 16 minutes. Well, let's make it even 12 minutes. Make the calculation. You'll never get there in time. The response time in the world, by the way, in the best scenario is 9 minutes in a real ambulance service. 9 minutes. Some places can take an hour, but let's say 9 minutes. New York City is much worse, by the way. So when you talk about 9 minutes, the chances of saving someone if his heart stopped beating is almost nothing. So let me tell you the real numbers. The real numbers are 2%. If Chas v'Shalom someone had a heart attack and his heart stopped beating, 2% chance you'll save this person. In America, in Israel, and other places, that's how it was. So we saw that one day we got a call about a child choking from a hot dog. Hot dogs are very dangerous for kids. That's why I always recommend to cut them down, to slice them down. Every mother knows that. And this kid unfortunately choked on this hot dog. And we were coming with the ambulance from the other side of town. We got there 21 minutes after this kid choked. It was about 19 minutes after we got the call. And when we arrived there, the neighbors, what happened was one of the neighbors thought the kid fainted because he was not responding. So he was on the floor. So he spilled a whole bucket of water on him to wake him up. They thought this is how they used to wake up people who fainted then. And when we got there, we saw the kid wet. So we didn't see him. So we said, "Oh, he fainted." And we realized the kid he can't even breathe. He can't get air in his lungs. What you do is, I'll show you soon. You do pump in air in someone's lungs if you can't breathe. So we tried pumping it and it worked. We tried working it and it worked. And then a doctor shows up a minute after we start working. He lives in the corner of the street. And the doctor shows up and he sees the kid on the floor. He says, "Can I help?" So I knew him from Barenholtz-Hatzalah. He was a doctor in Barenholtz-Hatzalah, a very famous doctor, a French doctor. And we gave him to check the kid, and he checked the kid and he said, "It's too late, you can't do anything." In that moment, I realized that it's never going to help. An ambulance will never save lives. It's a good way of transporting someone, but if you want to really save people's lives, this doctor could have saved this person's life, this kid's life, if he would have known about it 20 minutes earlier. Because he lived around the corner. The reason he knew about it is only because he heard the siren of the ambulance. So he knew something was going on. But if we would have let him know 20 minutes earlier, he would have ran there and saved this kid's life. It's easy to save someone's life. All you need to know is how to do the Heimlich maneuver or how to treat him until the ambulance arrives. So we were 15 volunteers in the neighborhood in Barenholtz where we grew up. And we said, let's get together and build community service, which we call Hatzalah. And every time they have an emergency, instead of waiting for the ambulance to come from far away, we will respond until the ambulance arrives. And it's a great idea. Why not? It's such a great idea. And it's a good initiative. Let's do something good for the community. And what happened was, we realized that in Israel, the bureaucracy is so strong, it's part of the system. So we came to the ambulance service, and we offered this service. We said, listen, you send an ambulance from far every time. It never, it never happens that the emergency is right next to where you are. So why don't we start this in Barenholtz-Hatzalah? And every time you have an emergency in Barenholtz-Hatzalah, you let us know because people call you. And the head of the emergency service here, the ambulance service, said, he was laughing hysterical when he heard the idea, and he kicked us out of the room. And he wasn't willing to listen to the idea. He said, "You crazy ideas. When someone calls for help, he'll get an ambulance for help." and he even gave me a very good advice. He said, "You kid, you look like you're very bored. Why don't you go work in a falafel shop? I think that will do very well for you." And that was his last words to me. So I said, "You know what? I'm going to use the Israeli technique." I said this in Shul and Shabbos. But we have a very special technique in Israel to do if we want to do something good. So we use this technique. It's called chutzpah. And we're not going to ask for his permission. And we actually built scanners. And with the scanners, we listen into their emergencies. You know the police scanners? Your kids don't know what it is. And you know what it is, right? In America, they use it a lot. And everything, the lawyers and everyone, they use it to listen to the ambulance chases. So we'll be the good ambulance chases. And we started listening into the emergencies. Every time they had an emergency, we knew about it immediately. Because they would send the ambulance. That week, we got an emergency call about a 70-year-old man who was crossing the street in Rehov Pisgah, which is the main street in Barenholtz, and a car hit him. And he was on the floor, and they called an ambulance. People called him, he was unconscious. He was bleeding terribly from his neck. And I was a block away. My father had a little bookshop in Barenholtz, and I was sitting in my father's shop listening to the scanner. And I didn't have any medical equipment with me, nothing. I only knew what to do because I did the course and everything. So I ran there by foot. I knew exactly where it was. It's in Pisgah 36, which is right in the center of the whole Pisgah. I got there, and the person was on the floor. No one touched him. Everyone was around him. He was bleeding terribly from his neck. And he was on Coumadin, which was even worse, which is a medicine that makes your blood very thin. And then I didn't have any equipment to stop his bleeding, so I took off my yarmulke, and I folded my yarmulke to two. And with a lot of pressure that I put on his neck, just holding the point where he was bleeding, I managed to stop his bleeding. I didn't have any bandages on me, but I took the yarmulke and I put a lot of pressure on the place. And about 20 minutes later, an ambulance shows up. And when the ambulance came, I said, "Here is the patient." The ambulance driver knew me, so I said, "Listen, I treated him. He's unconscious, but he has pulse. He's breathing on his own." 2 days later, I get a phone call from this person's son. He calls me up and he says, "Are you the boy that treated my father in the Rehov Pisgah?" I said, "Yes." He says, "My father would like to thank you personally for saving his life." And he says, "Could you come over to the hospital to Hadassah?" I started crying. It was for me, after a year and a half of volunteering in an ambulance, all of a sudden the first time you save someone outside of an ambulance. So I actually said, "Sure, I'm going to come right away." My father drove me there to Hadassah. I met this person and I got a hug from someone who actually hugged me for saving his life. That moment, I knew this is what I wanted to do in life. And this was a great story for me to motivate me to go even further. So the chutzpah got even further and further, and today we have 2,100 volunteers in Israel. And we're spread almost everywhere. Beit Shemesh, a lot of them in Beit Shemesh, we have about 65 volunteers in Beit Shemesh. And every time they have an emergency, we don't have to listen to scanners. You'll see downstairs we have better technology today. The technology that we use today is technology that we built. Everyone has on his smartphone a little app. Whenever an emergency happens, the closest 10 volunteers get the emergency into their app. Yells out that someone is in trouble around you. I'm sure you all saw Superman, and Superman, you always see him running to save the world and the buildings collapsing. So we don't save the world, we save a person's world. So it says, Kol Matzil Nefesh Echad Kilu Kiyem Olam Maleh. So if you save one person, you save the entire world. Every volunteer around our saved lives. About 209,000 people were treated last year by this organization. And all for free, all as volunteers. Everyone here is a volunteer. You'll see us all down in dispatch. We have a lot of volunteers who are doing the army service here. So we have an arrangement with Haredim who are not serving in the army, that they serve at Hatzalah and actually respond on Shabbos and Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur alone, we treated about 650 people this Yom Kippur. And they go out, save lives, and do the army here, which is a good alternative for them, at least to serving the country. And we're going to grow and grow this way because more and more volunteers are going to join us now. So this is the organization, and I'm very proud that now we have another Ambucycle, and this Ambucycle that was dedicated by your family, who are not here today. And I had the privilege of speaking in the beach minyan in the Hamptons. And all of a sudden a young man comes over to me and he says, I saw your talk a few weeks ago on the internet in TED. And he says, I'm so happy. I came to speak there too in the shul, in the Beach Union. And it was a great honor to meet him. And he's actually invited all of you here today. So I'm honored that you're here. And this Ambucycle is one of the greatest inventions we ever came up with. To have, instead of responding by foot or by own cars, that's how we started. Now we give volunteers who are in main cities. It used to be that I used to go with my father's car to emergencies. I had all the medical equipment and ambulance had in the back of my father's car. But then I saw the traffic was so bad. Even with my father's car, I couldn't go through the traffic. Even so, I came from very close. I couldn't find parking for the car, so I had to park car and then run with all the equipment. Now we actually have a thing called an Ambucycle. The Ambucycle has 2 wheels and all the medical equipment an ambulance has, besides for a bed. And it gets there an average response instead of what it used to be 17, 18 minutes. Now the average response is about 3 minutes in Israel. Now we want to get it to 90 seconds. The only way to get to 90 seconds is to have another 1,000 volunteers and another 300 Ambucycles. So that way you get everywhere in the country. So I was honored that I spoke in the Beach Union, and you get a beautiful donation here down here, and you'll see it downstairs in a few minutes. And I want to show you one short video, and then we'll go downstairs.
I'll tell you that people who have been on were recipients of yours around the world. And my sister-in-law, Jeanette Barenholtz, she's angels, and that you were there when she needed you immediately. Just so immediately. So I just want you to know that you work so hard and it works all over in America.
And now in many countries, and I'm sorry that we don't always save everyone, and we try our best. And many times people are saved, but think about 209,000 people were treated only this year. But another thing that the nice part about Hatzalah is spreading all around the world. This year alone, last year we started in Brazil, in Panama, and now we're starting in Chile and Argentina. Argentina is the biggest Jewish community in the world, in actually after America. Before France is Argentina. And so many people could be alive today who would have been, unfortunately, not alive if it wasn't for Hatzalah. So think about how many people's lives were saved. 209,000 people. Out of them, we're talking about 25% for a life-threatening situation where people were saved. So make the calculations. So I want to show you a short video, and then I want you to speak downstairs. Who trains these people? We either come trained already by the army, by ambulance. They have 100 ambulance companies in Israel who train. Or now we have our own training program who is about 200 hours. And whoever wants to join us, 200 hours. It's quite a thing. You look like you want to join us. And it's amazing after you go through the course. And you how many after? You do the training. So I just want to show this.
הבעל שלי בטח קרא, אנחנו בשקד 4, מה אומר? תרים אותו, סגר את זה. עיניים. בני, מה קורה? תיכנס להם. איפה תראי הם הגיעו? בני.
אוף, למה הם לא מגיעים?
בני, מה קורה? לא, קורה בשעה כבר. מה קורה? איפה אתם? כבר עברה רבע שעה. אוי, בואו, מהר. בואו חמודים, בואו. חוצה.
מה קרה לו? אדוני.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28.
This could end differently.
הבעל שלי בטח קרה, אנחנו בשקד 4. מה אומר? בני?
יש שם אירוע לבבי, ככל נראה התקף לב. יכול להיות קצת השקד 4, יש שם אירוע לב.
איזה קרים הם הגיעו? מהר, בני? רבה.
דון?
The immediate arrival of ambucycles will save lives. More than 1,700 United Hatzalah volunteers save lives throughout Israel, but only 10% of them respond by Ambucycle. 300 more Ambucycles are critically needed in Israel. One fully equipped Ambucycle can save the lives of at least 80 people each year. United Hatzalah plans to expand to 3,000 volunteers, thereby reducing response time to 90 seconds. Their lives are in your hands. Because it is not only one life, it's a whole family. Donate an Ambucycle and start saving lives today.
Everyone here is going to ask. This is, So we'll wear the hats when we go downstairs. This is actually, and I'll say a few words to the camera. Since, if you don't mind, I'm just going to say a few words because I didn't realize that this video is actually going to be produced to America. But actually, since I was in the Hamptons a couple of weeks ago for Shabbat, and I got such a nice hospitality by Michael, and it was an amazing experience to be so way far from Israel, and people, their hearts are fully in Israel. So I want to thank Michael and Randy for their amazing donation. And this donation is going to protect Israel, literally. As you saw in the videos, one of these volunteers are going to drive this Ambucycle. And he's going to be, it's going to be in your Yerushalayim area. What? Oh, Michael's daughter. All right, hi. Right, actually, he told me his daughter's here. So you here for the year, or are you here just for?
She's a married lady.
Married lady. She looks like a little kid. What?
I've got enough for it.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope you took it as a compliment and not to. You should be. You're lucky. This is going to be stationed in your Yerushalayim area, so it might hit Beit Shemesh to come help in Beit Shemesh. It drives around, so you'll see it around, and we'll actually send updates to update you of the things. But again, thank you to the Barenholtzes for their amazing gift for life. And this is a great honor for me to accept it. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this is going to be a special gift in memory of someone very special. And a few people, his parents. And you'll see it downstairs. The dedication is already ready. And we could go downstairs, actually. Thank you. So we're going to go downstairs to where we started. Daniel, Mordechai, you made water bottle? Water bottle's right there. I wish I had that.
I wish I had it.
Can't help it. Like,
Oh, yeah. We have a great guy here. You like this guy? He's a great guy.
We want you to meet this wonderful girl she's studying here in Israel. She's a lovely girl. I think you guys would be great together. Yeah.
Just work.
I think I was nervous I wear this close to like having.
Ellie beer.
I know. And then also.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Randy. Hi, Eric.
Everybody wave!
Great.
What's on the back of this one? I think I would find it very hard to buy a specific one.
Oh, so now I have to
Yaakov, put the helmet on. Put the helmet on. Look at me. Look up. You want to check it? Look like you're saving life. This guy's a tough guy. He wants to check it and see if it works.
Danny, I'll check it.
So you could all try it soon, but I want to just show you the equipment that goes in the back of the Ambucycle. In the back of this Ambucycle, we're going to have all this equipment. So volunteers are qualified, the paramedics are qualified to use medications that we give them to use for special treatments like CPRs strokes, any emergencies that you need to use, start using medications. So they have
What
to.
kind of medications do they use for that?
What?
What kind of medications do they use for that?
They use medications. They use any type of medication that you need to use, adrenaline or any type of. Sometimes you have a cardiac problem. People have chest pains. You give them a little pill underneath their tongue, and they already feel they save their lives. So these kind of medications we give them, and the volunteers get there really quick. They can start treating. A lot of the stuff that we have here, they don't even have an ambulance. I'll show you. This is, look at this thing. This is to intubate. You see, this is intubation equipment. You ever saw on television when they, this is the intubation equipment. So let me show you. Okay, so here, this actually you put this in someone's throat.
Doesn't that hurt?
It doesn't hurt. You put this is actually to catch the tongue down, and then in order to get the person really full of oxygen, so we have these little pipes, which I'll show you. This is a small pipe. You see, this pipe. This is for a child. This goes into the lungs of this kid, and then you connect it to the oxygen tank. You see here. You have an oxygen tank. This is an oxygen tank, so we connect. It fits. It connects, and then you could pump in 100% oxygen inside a person's body, in his lungs, and save the person's brain damage. Think about how many people we've saved, and they come back like regular people. I'll just tell you a short story that happened last week. In Geula, I got a phone call. I'll tell you, in Geula last week, a person came from America he did a Achnasas Sefer Torah. He's supposed to do today. Achnasas Sefer Torah, so he came a week ago, and he went to Geula to shop and whatever. He lives in New York, in Brooklyn, and he was walking around Geula and he had a cardiac arrest, 52 years old, very young. He had a heart attack. He collapsed on the floor in the middle of Geula. Can you imagine stopping in the middle of Geula to tie his shoes? What happens? Thousands of people, it's messy, it's hot. Volunteers of ours were trying to resuscitate on him. They're trying to intubate him. It's very hard. You have to make sure you put in the right pipe. You have two pipes here, you know? One goes to the stomach, and one goes to the lungs. You learn that when you become a doctor. So, and then this person was on the floor. They tried to intubate him, and what happened was that they couldn't get it in. They finally got everything they got. They gave him 6 shocks with this defibrillator. This defibrillator gives shocks. It's a little machine. It's like, you know, one time you want to start your car, jump start your car. This is jump start your heart. It speaks Hebrew, explains what to do. This is the little pad. The volunteers gave him 6 shocks. They didn't think he's going to make it. It was so bad. Everything was working. It was so hot there. It was so messy. They had about 10 volunteers who were trying to help, doing CPR on him, to put in the intubation, to put the medication, everything. After the 6th shock, he got his heartbeat again. Last night he called me to invite me for the Achnasas Sefer Torah that he's doing in the Ramat Shlomo today. He said to me, he was talking like a regular person. He was very low because he couldn't talk because he had the intubation in. So they took it out a few days after. It takes time to get your voice back. He says to me that this Sefer Torah could have ended up in memory of his own self. And he said, now I'm going to celebrate the Torah I gave because of your volunteers. And he said, I want you to come. Tonight I'm going to go to Achnasas Sefer Torah. That's one out of thousands that we saved with no brain damage. He's 53 years old. He has a family, he has children. He's going to have grandchildren. This is the type of work that these volunteers, and they do it with these equipment. Everything you need here, you have here. The oxygen tank, you see here. You see the resuscitation equipment.
Feeling well here?
So, this Paul.
They want you in.
Hello. we don't have big facilities. We have very humble and small facilities because all our activities are outside on the field. This is one of our dispatch centers. This is actually a control room. Volunteers work here 24/7. You'll see these volunteers on Shabbos, on Yom Kippur, every night. Every time they have an emergency, they make sure, they actually monitor to make sure every call is actually answered by a volunteer, by a team, so we could actually see every volunteer where he is. It's amazing to see. Okay, you can see right now all the volunteers' ambucycles, while they're driving, where they're driving, how fast they're driving. They could actually see if a volunteer is going through a red light, why he's going through a red light. We have the bigger brother watching you, but it's very important. I'll tell you why, because sometimes when they're going to a call and they go to the wrong location, they monitor to see if they made a mistake and they fix them, correct them right away. And many times we have this technology that we developed that locates the closest first responder to every emergency, could actually save lives. And the reason is because I was driving from up north, from Haifa, coming back from a wedding, driving down to Jerusalem, and they had a kid who jumped in the pool at night in a kibbutz after Hadera. And I didn't know, I was listening to the radio, just regular chilling out. All of a sudden my phone starts buzzing that in a kibbutz 350 meters away from me, some child was found in the pool. I was a minute away from there, but if I would have gotten the call 20 seconds later, I would have been after the turn right, and then you can't go back. You have to go 10 miles to go back. I was managed because of this technology that we have here, which is the software, the best software in the world. It's called NowForce. I was able to go make the right, get into the kibbutz. They were shocked so fast. Usually it takes an ambulance a half hour to get there. What? NowForce. And it's actually donated, it's called Life Compass. This is the actual name, the generic name of it, Life Compass. And it was donated by a family in Miami, the Moskowitz family. And this technology is actually the fastest way how to reach every emergency, and we actually get there in seconds. So we could actually תעשה את זה יותר קטן. תעשה את זה טיפה. So since Michael, you gave me such a nice hospitality Julie, come here a second. So I just want to say something actually, because Michael gave me such good hospitality in the Hamptons, and he let me speak in his shul. So actually, I'm going to let his son-in-law speak in my shul here in Jerusalem. What do you think, huh? About that?
It's a nice
gesture. Or you invited for Shabbos. Whatever you want, seriously.
Works, yeah.
Actually, you really look like you're a student here in Israel.
Maybe she can say a few words.
Yeah, we're going to do it right here. But I think you should say it right after we do this, and then you'll speak about. I wanted to purposely, and I'm happy you have the microphone.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the Ambucycle. So I want to show you. איפה המפתחות? תבדוק, תשאל איפה המפתחות.
What's your last name?
Beer, I like to drink.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm originally from New York, but I was born in Israel. My parents are originally from New York. And I was born here, raised here. and proud to be Israeli. A dib, like we say. So this is, I'm going to show you in a few minutes what the Ambucycle is, but I want to call, your name is Julie, right? Julie and Dov. So Julie and Dov will present, my Hebrew, now I'm thinking in Hebrew, will represent, right? Represent the family from the States who are not here and maybe stand here. And this is, whoever wants to see the dedication on the Ambucycle. And Vakasha. So all you have to do is just pull it down. And I hope everything, the text is good. Okay, so this is donated by the Barenholtz family in loving memory of our dear parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, JEANETTE and IRVING Barenholtz, Zichronam Livracha. So now I would like maybe the sister and then the sister and then the granddaughter, and maybe I'll give you the microphone and you can say a few words near the Ambucycle.
I really can't think of anything more appropriate to any organization or any charity to donate to from the Barenholtz family in honor of JEANETTE and Bonnie, because they were so very good to them and were there when they needed them immediately, and they truly did what they were supposed to do, and they were a wonderful organization. And Michael, I think you're the greatest.
Use this. Okay, I just wanted to say obviously thank you everyone for coming on such short notice, and thank you Ellie and the Hatzalah organization for allowing this and making this possible. I know my father is very upset he's not here and he really is missing such a great thing, but he'd be happy to know that we're all here gathered together in Israel for such a nice thing. We all really miss my grandparents a lot. It's been a rough year and a half, but this is such a beautiful way to commemorate them. You know, this is the greatest, through saving lives. They would just be, I know they're very watching down on us, very proud, and so nice to be here together commemorating them and missing them.
Maybe if someone else would like to say something. You want to say something? Come on. Look at here. I see in your eyes that you knew. Where's your auntie?
That's another grandchild, but you can't.
You could.
No, I can't.
Listen.
I can't.
Maybe just say something short.
I can't.
Everybody else?
I'll just cry the whole time.
She's not even speaking.
Listen, this is in memory of people. This is actually, what I understood is I didn't know your brother. I didn't know your brother, and I didn't know the Barenholtzes till now, but I could see the family and the friends, what kind of amazing family they are. And it all started from somewhere. It didn't start from nowhere. And I'm sure that they're going to have a lot of nachas from saving the lives of so many people that we saved with this. An average of 720 people are treated on every Ambucycle a year. This is about 2.5 calls a day that they go out to volunteers. And they're going to save many people and their schus. And they're going to be very proud of what your family did. And I hope that in Shamayim they should have a Eloi Neshama. And they should literally have nachas from all the family and protect the whole family by praying for them to Hashem. That, think about every saving life, every life saving. I'll say something just to emphasize. Listen, for 25 years of my life, I put dedicated for this organization, and I do real estate for a living. And I was supposed to have a meeting today with someone, and I said, this is more important. And the reason is because one simple thing. My father, when I was born in 1973, 2 weeks before the Yom Kippur War, I spent my first month in the bomb shelter. And my father went, while I was in the bomb shelter with my mother, is a few weeks old. My father was an ambulance driver for the army here in Yerushalayim, taking soldiers while they were hurt. Chas v'shalom, they were almost killed. My father was taking them to the hospital on the ambulance, and my mother was with me in the bomb shelter. My father says there was nothing more important. He says to me, he gave me an example. He says when I was born, my father bought stocks in a company called Walmart, a small company then, and then a year later he sold them. And he said, you know what? Like a few years ago, my father said, you know, I should have kept these Walmarts. These $10,000 would have worth $140 million. He made a calculation. I should have kept it. We would have been rich people today. He says, but listen to this. When you go up to Shemaim, he said, you think to yourself, you know, I did a lot of mitzvahs, but I should have taken this blue chip mitzvahs. The ones who are like the Walmart that made us rich if we'd have kept them. Saving lives is the biggest mitzvah, the biggest thing you could do in the Torah. There is nothing higher in the Torah than saving lives. We always want to do mitzvahs. We say, okay, we want to do one mitzvah, whatever, go here and do that. But saving someone's life is the highest you could get. You could actually do all the mitzvahs in the Torah, but if you save one person's life, it's connected everything. It's more than the Torah itself, because you could stop Yom Kippur, you could stop Shabbos and go save him. You could do a Bittul Torah for saving a life. So this is what they're doing in memory of JEANETTE and IRVING, Zichron Milcha, that they should actually have a Ilui Neshama from this. So I want to actually give you now the opportunity to just see what this Ambucycle has. So you saw the equipment. It actually didn't, we're going to put the equipment today. They're going to put the defibrillator today. But till the equipment is here, we actually want to give each one of you a gift. A gift, each one of you. That's in the back of the Ambucycle. This is for you. Give it out. Hatzalah works really quick. Hatzalah works really, really quick. And that's the nice part about Hatzalah. We think about Hatzalah, you think about who else doesn't have yet? If you need more. I was asked just now about if people go through the training of 200 hours, that's not including the training we do for the Ambucycle. We want to make sure our people are safe. Safety comes first. Every volunteer of ours, part of the equipment that we put for the Ambucycle is the gear that they get, the protection gear, but they have to go through courses. They have to go through literally driving on oil, driving on thing. This has, don't get scared, this actually has a siren. They have lights in the front and the back. They see them from the sides. And whenever they go through a red light, they're allowed to go through a red light. It's authorized to go through red lights. And they can go save lives. And people move for them because they hear them and they're small. Yeah.
So how many women drivers do you have?
We'll have one, but if you join us, we'll have another one. We have about 50 women volunteers. What?
You might regret.
We actually want more women to drive. It's very hard. I'll tell you where the problem with this is a lot of women don't want it. Wait, I'm coming. Maybe you stand next to your. You have to do. How do you do it? Okay, now the other side. Maybe you want to honor someone. Yeah.
Hey, Grandma, Alyssa wants to do it.
Come here, Liz. Come here, lovey. Turn on the side.
In the middle.
You got one? You got one? Lisa, you got one?
First of all, we'll send everyone pictures from this event and videos. So whoever wants to write his email.
I just wanted to add another little point about Uncle Barney and Aunt Jeanette that I think is so appropriate that I'm sure everybody at home thought of. that Uncle Barney used to love Israel so much, and especially Yerushalayim. He used to come here whenever he could. I remember especially he had a special visit with Sonny, and the two of them came here, and all he could do, they bunked together, and they didn't have to leave Yerushalayim. All they did was just sit here and love being here and walk to the Kotel and daven here. And it's so fitting that this is being donated to be in Yerushalayim, to the place where he just loved to be. And Jeanette came on a special trip just to be here, to be with her family. Also, she loved Israel so much, and being the recipient of all the love and care and kindness made her feel so warmly to all the Hatzalah people. And this is just so fitting and so beautiful, and we really just wish them an aliyah l'neshama and just continued love with all the family. We love you.
Thank you to Michael and the family for donating this very, very important vehicle in life-saving devices for people in Israel and tourists and anyone that comes along. Much love from all the Grafs. We loved your mom and dad so much, and it makes us feel very warm and comforted to know that you're part of what's going on here. All my love. Bye-bye.
Hello, Michael and Randy. You did a great thing. It really looks wonderful. I think there's going to be a lot of lives saved because of you and Randy.
Michael and Randy, I just wanted to say, first of all, how inspired all of us have been by your gift. It's really incredible, and it's very special for us to be included in such a beautiful experience. I wanted to share with you one quick idea that I really thought of last night as we were getting ready for this event, and that is we came here to Hatzalah and we learned about how they are such quick responders saving lives. And I just wanted to tell you, you know, of course, how near and dear your parents are to our hearts. In many ways, they were Hatzalah before there was Hatzalah. We turn around. I remember when we lived near them, we turned around, there was a problem, and within the very quick response time, Uncle Barney was there helping us with this light bulb or that electrical problem downstairs, and Aunt Jeanette coming, really a quick responder with the button candy and the smile and the song. It was really something that was so special for us, and we really want to thank you so much for inspiring us and letting us being a part of your lives and their lives, God willing, forever and ever. Have a wonderful, wonderful zechut and memory for the rest of your lives.